Yeah, so we've got gi footage from this past Thursday. Let's get into it. Did you train today?
Today I did not. No.
Yeah, me neither. All right, Austin and Justin starting it off. Pat and Caleb. Looks like Brandon's over there waiting for a dance partner.
Yeah, me and him trained first.
Justin doing some good passing, good control of the legs. Something I just want to point out, watching Pat and Caleb over here in the corner. So Caleb's kind of on a last ditch guard retention stage here, right? It looked like he kind of went up for maybe an, I guess, I don't know, he didn't have an arm in and there was no triangle, but Pat's starting to come around his legs here. And Caleb's framing heavily on the hip, but that's not going to be enough, right? That frame, a good hip switch, and if you are really vulnerable, you'll just get wrist locked. But like, I'd like to see Caleb focusing on maybe like inverting or like cutting a different angle here to get it, not just relying on the stiff arm at the hip, right? Because Pat's able to just smash and establish a guard pass from there. Starting week 2 tomorrow, rolling, drilling. How much striking goes into Army combatives? Is it like heavy sparring too, like full contact sparring, or are you guys like encouraged to not send each other to the medic? Boxing gloves, MMA gloves, and gloveless. That's cool. You can kind of progress towards, bare knuckle. Do you have some savages in there who just like want to beat the shit out of other people and get beaten up themselves?
Brandon hit a really nice go behind on me.
Yeah, let's go back.
In order to take my back here.
Did we get it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Just
good arm drag.
Nice arm drag, yep. And just had enough of grip on the gi that I couldn't get away.
Really nice.
Takes my back, goes both hooks in, and then immediately starts setting up for a bow and arrow choke. So he's trying to trap, right?
Yeah.
So he's really trying to trap my hands. And I wasn't going to allow that. And then he goes up and immediately starts attacking this bow and arrow, and it was dangerous. Like it was actually very strong. So I immediately have my right hand on the elbow, and it was very close. I think honestly the only thing that saved me was that he wasn't able to start cutting the angle and getting a pants grip, right? So like, he didn't have any sort of control over my legs, and that's what allowed me to kind of walk out of the position. Yep.
That was sick.
Yeah.
And then I want to look at Pat and Caleb here. See how they got to where they are. So, okay, Caleb. Looks like Caleb was working to, I know he and I have talked about this a lot with like using that kind of pendulum of the legs, turtling up, and then working back up to to a guard or a takedown or a sweep. So it looks like it's what he's trying to work here. Pat's laying on a lot of pressure. Okay, there we go. Gets to his knees.
Then immediately goes in to pick up a leg here.
Nice. Pulling Pat's pants down. It's just rude. Both of their pants are coming down. A few BJJ blue belts. Really good wrestler. Damn, that's a squad, man. What's up, Brandon? I bet the wrestler probably gave a lot of those guys problems. If his experience is, or if your experience is anything like mine, wrestlers can come into the room and just ruin everybody's day.
What's up, Brandon?
I'm curious how the judo guy fared without, I mean, like, it's not like you need a gi to do judo. I'm sure he can adapt to plenty of stuff, but...
How did Justin get past the guard? I know he was, like, going for a knee cut pass.
Sucks.
So he was going for a knee cut, but I couldn't tell where his left leg was. Okay, so he walked. He's past the bottom leg. Okay.
Justin, you were doing a really good job of, I think, something we talked about on the last stream where we looked at gi, or maybe I talked about it in class, I don't know, but just like using the grips to the very end of the pass and keeping legs extended as you try to close the space. He managed to get his knee back in, but like I've seen you do it more than once already in this first round.
Yeah, so you did a really good job, Justin, of keeping heavy pressure down on the right shoulder of Austin, the cross shoulder, and that so the more you slid through, the less he could follow you because you just had him pinned at the top side.
Brandon, I think you came on a little after we had talked about the really good the arm drag you got on Mike and the takedown. Yep. And the bow and arrow you started attacking, so definitely go back and check that out. They look good all around.
And here I try and set up my own bow and arrow choke, and he wasn't having it. Like he knew exactly what to do, and I had to relinquish and go to mount.
Once you learn the bow and arrow, like as a white belt, I feel like gi becomes a whole lot more fun, because like it's almost like learning the Americana for no gi. You finally have like a go-to sub to play with, and like the bow and arrow is just it really is like fairly easy to learn. Like the mechanics of it are super strong, and like you finally start putting it to use, and you're like, oh, this is a superpower. It's a really, really good one to know. Keep in mind, Brandon, next time you're playing around on the back in gi, you don't have to play the whole arm trap game quite as much as you do in no gi, right? I tend to shift my focus towards immediately establishing a grip on the lapel versus the hand fight battle that we focus on in no gi. So see what that does for you. Like, get on someone's back and then make your primary focus establishing your grips and then tightening your grips versus arm trapping and all that stuff. See if that helps at all. What happened with Austin and Justin?
I think it was an Ezekiel of some kind.
Looks like Justin's trying some lapel wizardry. Maybe a Bravo or...
Yeah, it is, because it's Austin's lapel, I think.
Looks like it.
And then like a baseball bat choke kind of a thing.
The geesey keel. Yeah, I got strangled out with that at my first competition as a purple belt. That kid hit me with a Bravo. See, like right there, Justin, like you're holding on to the gi pants like long enough to where you can establish your pass. I don't think you're in too much. It sucks what Austin's doing to you there, but I don't think you're in too much trouble with it. But that was good. I just see people giving up on those grips too soon on the passing, and then they just their opponent immediately gets guard again or whatever.
Austin, you've been in it a couple of times already with Justin playing bottom, but you get into the you have opportunities for like what I'll do is like the shoulder crunch sweep, but you don't have to, right? You don't have to use the shoulder crunch sweep or that udegatami, that straight arm lock. You have the head and arm opportunities too. What I'm trying to say is like you've got opportunities for sweeps by like locking down and controlling the upper body. Like all right here, this is like prime sweeping territory for you. You've got Justin fully extended out, reaching, right? He's got while his center, what's that?
It looks like he has almost like 100% grip too. Like Justin's head is cranked down.
Yeah, it's basically like that, and he's got like a rear naked choke arm lock on that shoulder. Like he's right there at it. But what I'm saying is like you've got him fully extended out while his center of gravity is low. It's very easy. Like Matt would probably be kicking out the right leg of Justin to flop him over, onto his right side. Yeah. That's I know what I would be doing is locking down the right shoulder and then pushing on the right knee to extend him out even further, and then rolling him on top. So you've got you have some opportunities here. I suggest we go over it. I mean, I'll be there tomorrow. If you're there, I know, if Matt's there, he can go over it too, but there's a lot of opportunity there for you to sweep and get on top.
Yeah, definitely.
Or at the very, just, sticking within your wheelhouse, using it to create enough space to throw up a triangle. That's also another opportunity that you can use.
Yeah, a lot of defense to sweeps is just basing out, right? And getting someone's hand to plant leads to, I don't think we're telling Austin anything he doesn't know. We've seen him hitting triangles from all sorts of spots, but
it's just seeing it on tape, right? And being able to make the mental connection, I think would help. Okay, so you tried it, Austin. Let's hit a quick review over it tomorrow and see if we can shore up some mechanics.
And I just want to look at it again real quick. This grip you have here, before that, right,
it's there.
Yeah, right here. There is a lot you could do with that. But so even without I guess I'll just throw another detail into this, is once you have that upper body under control like you do, you can start to think about where do I want my hips to be, right? Because that's what's gonna dictate which way you take this to a degree. So if your hips are still pointing this way like they are right now, yeah, like Mike's saying, kick that leg out, sweep him over in that direction. If Justin were to adjust and start going towards his left, and you could bring your hips out in the other direction, that opens up just other opportunities, other angles that you're gonna keep this grip and then roll him over. I don't know. I love when I end up in this, like, any variation of this, like, half Nelson, you know, from bottom, or I'm sure there's a more proper name for it, but it's such a great way to just crank somebody over. Dude, Justin had me, I think, I don't know, Justin, maybe you remember, it was like this last Tuesday or maybe last week, in like a situation, like, it was, I don't even know how to describe it, but it felt like a triangle where like my leg was just like hiked up to my face, but it was all with the lapel work. And
Nice.
I hated it so much. I was like so angry as it was happening. Good. Get everybody in it.
Yeah, you'll see me and Justin towards the end of the night.
So yeah,
He
it
did
looks
some weird.
pretty much what he's doing right now, but as far as the grip goes, but the angle that he ended up getting me in, like, I don't know, maybe he like flipped up to north south and like my leg was just caught between him and me, and I couldn't extend it, so there was no way I was gonna like relieve any of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this slob on the mat over here.
It's got a hurt foot, man.
Oh really? Is it that bad?
Yeah.
Well, use your other foot. Damn, Caleb.
Going one way or the other. I love that.
I'm disappointed that didn't work out well, because that looked really promising.
But, I mean,
just a good double
go.
overhook.
Yep.
Yeah, damn.
I mean, Justin was clearly ready for it, right? Like, he was definitely ready. It was just the fact that Caleb kept going went in the opposite direction immediately is what got him on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Justin's like, okay, I gotta sit back on my haunches, and then Caleb's like, nope, I'm going this way, you know?
Yeah, he kept control of the arm of Justin's left arm, took him in that direction. That was good.
So me and Pat are over here in the corner. You can barely see it, but he is laying so heavy. I was able to, and then, you know, Austin, this is kind of like right inside of your game here, but I had this, it was kind of like a clamp guard type setup, and then I threw up the trap triangle on him, and as soon as I threw up this trap triangle, number one, it was really low. It was almost below his shoulder. I just basically clamped his shoulder, and then I started, you know, working up the body. Yes, right here. I've got him into a full trap triangle here, and I was like trying to get to an emote to like a standard triangle, but Pat is like digging his arm, not under my butt necessarily, but just driving his shoulder very heavy down onto that left-hand side, so that I can't cut my hips in the right direction. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, you know, am I going to be able to pull off that hantai, the wrong way triangle here? And it actually came on really tight, really fast. I was pretty surprised.
That leg position looks really good.
It, like, how it folded over top of the shoulders, like over top of his right shoulder, was actually really strong, and it took a little tiny squeeze for me to get the tap.
Yeah, that's killer. And it's interesting because you haven't even cut your angle.
Yeah,
like I don't think I've seen a wrong way triangle that straight on before.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised that I could even get it, but you know, there was something about the body positioning that he did.
I think
whether it was.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if it was the way that he went to go to defend. See how he pulled his arm across his across my body there.
That's exactly what I think. That's what I was gonna say, because, you know, a few frames ago he was here, and like if he kept his elbow tight, you know, you would have had to cut your angle like we normally see. As soon as he switches over, I mean, 5 seconds later, 2 seconds later, he's tapping.
Yeah, I think it was just he was trying to alleviate some of the pressure, and I think it was the wrong way.
Yeah. Looks like Justin was not gonna take this lion down though.
Gets into the half guard. Caleb's cutting across, and okay, and then Justin's definitely expecting. I imagine Justin was anticipating that he was going to go for the knee bar.
Yeah.
And here's this is like, in Justin, you may not, or you probably know this, which is why the hell you did it, but like others may not know that the fact that you built up from an elbow to a hand post with that right hand is what saved, is really what saved that position. So you come up here, now you're immediately building up to an elbow, right? Which is getting your hips up and beating Caleb's hips in height, right? You're gaining hip height on him. And then as things start to progress, Caleb is really digging for this leg, right? And so you're like, you've had enough of it, so you build up to a hand, you heist your hips up, and then you take top position. Something as simple as that can be literally the difference between being in trouble from a submission and getting on top.
That was good. Just call it a little attaboy to Austin as well. Just seeing him starting to think about digging in on legs.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And I mean, yes. Let's see. All right, so where this went wrong, I think two little things. It was a sick little entrance, man. So I don't know. I want to know what you think about this. He switches his hip position from here over top of Brandon's thigh and knee to there in front.
Yep.
And like that's not. I don't think that's terrible, but I don't know how much that gives Brandon now access to grip fight. I feel like that would help Brandon in a way.
Yeah.
And then right here, we see him clutching at the leg, but doing it more up around the calf. Like I'm not seeing any real grip down by the heel or the ankle. And like I don't care about that in terms of establishing heel hooks or anything. Right now, you need to get Brandon's leg extended away from his butt, and the easiest way to do that is at the end of the lever. So when you're hugging onto this leg and looking to extend it, right here, think about immediately grabbing the heel and the ankle, right? Because now you're not getting that leg back from him, right? Once he's gotten it taken that far back. But if you had it at the heel, I think you'd have a much better chance to extend it and get it isolated. Either way, that whole sequence was cool.
Yeah, completely agree. When I'm trying to dig for somebody's leg that is fully aware that I'm going for it, heels and toes are what I'm trying to capture.
Yeah. Not
knees and calves. So I'm trying to grab whether it's the heel or the Achilles heel, or the top of the foot and the toes.
Yep.
It's basically what I can grab from the angle that I'm going at.
Yeah, it's analogous to the armbar anatomically, right? Where it is important that you control the wrist to get the proper braking angle. So when you want to attack a knee bar, it's important that you control the ankle, not gripping up at the calf, right? You control the ankle and you could twist the leg into a position you want it, or prevent him from twisting it into a position that he wants. Keep digging on those though. That looks really good. Like you're getting entrances, you just gotta work on getting the isolation and the mechanics down.
And Brandon, a little something to think about too for you when you're in this guard position, right? And Austin, he's not lazy, right? He's actively trying to get you into a bad spot, going for submissions and things, right? This is a good and a bad thing for Austin, because when he's doing that, in order to attack from closed guard, Luke hammers down on this all the time on closed guard week, but no attack from closed guard occurs with closed guard, right? You have to open your guard at some point in order to start setting angles and doing things like that. And you know this as the person that's in closed guard, right? Like you just know that this is what's going to happen. Something very simple that you can do is that when you sense that your opponent is opening their guard for whatever reason, sliding your knee up in between yourself and them is always trying to establish an inside knee position in the in closed guard. So like if there's like a scramble and he's trying to go for some things or whatever, and he was doing like a lot of the attempts for the hip bump. Well, in order to do the hip bump, he can't keep his guard closed, right? He's planting on the floor, he's trying to drive up. When he sets back down, if you're keeping good elbow frames and hand frames down on his hips and on his thighs, you can punch your knee up in between and prevent him from closing his guard again. So there, you're gonna pop him back down, right? He opens up again, right? Now here, perfect opportunity for you to punch in a knee and prevent him from closing the guard again.
Yeah.
And there's like all of these little small amounts of time that are possible for that to happen.
It's funny, like you could see Austin trying to use the hip bump to set up the triangle like 3 times in a row. Yeah, I was trying to do the triangle setup, you guys. Yeah, exactly. No, I see that, and that's perfect. Like I think the only let's see, I think you do it again here in a sec, or no, hold on, let's go back. Yeah, I think Brandon just got the jump on you. Like it because none of this looks bad.
Not at all.
Right? Like it doesn't look like you're doing anything egregiously wrong. Brandon may not be off balance quite as far as you would like. I mean, the more he gets off balance, the easier it's going to be to set that up. So that could be it. That could be why it's not working quite as well. Additionally, that one looked better, but it looked like he caught your leg at the end there. Get a little granular here, but go ahead.
Ultimately on this one, like, so it's pretty clear from watching it that you're trying to throw your right leg over top of Brandon's left shoulder, okay? And for this to work incredibly well, okay, you can be bearing your weight now. So you're doing the hip bump sweep here. If you take your left leg and try and drape it high on top of Brandon's back, what it does is it cuts your angle to the left, right? So like you would be creating a pretty deep angle on Brandon where your right leg can come out and swing up over top. What's happening, and this could be a combination of not a lot of pressure on Brandon to keep his hand planted, or just Brandon, like Matt said, getting the jump on you and getting his left arm back into play really quickly. But what's happening is that Brandon doesn't have enough pressure to hold himself down in place, and you don't have a deep enough angle for you to get your right leg out and swing it up over top.
Yeah, I think in this one, this attempt in particular, the first of like the 2 back-to-back, it looks like that, yeah, your leg doesn't come out far enough. And I just looking at it now in slow-mo. So you're here. This is, I think, where you start your jump. Yeah, if you turn your body to the right a little bit more, so turning your body down and think about pulling your knee to your nose, just like we talk about in like the elbow escape. in the same way we try to arm trap on the back, we lead with our knee coming up high, and then pummeling becomes a lot easier, right? You're pulling your knee so far up that then your lower leg can swing around a bit more freely. So I would say right here where you start to extract your leg, I think you're making the move with your hips versus pulling your knee straight up and then over the knee, or I'm sorry, over his shoulder. I hope that makes sense. And again, we can talk about this tomorrow. But that's a little tweak I think you can make to get there, because you're doing everything right. You're getting him to base out. It's just a matter of there you got it out a little bit more, but he catches the knee. So you're doing a lot of it right. I think you can just stand to move the leg a little differently, and it should help. Yeah, there's some weight. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because you weigh more, he couldn't get you to base out quite as far with the hip bump, but I don't. That shouldn't be a big man move, you know, or a big man shouldn't be able to shut that move down necessarily. It's all the mechanics of the entrance. And then we've probably looked at this inadvertently 50 times going through replays, but Justin's Tomoe here, I think this is the second time tonight he went for it. I want to see you launch Caleb to the moon with this on one of these streams. So like, I'm thinking why this didn't work quite as well is you're almost like, yes, this is a fall, like you want Caleb falling to you, it's sacrificial, but your hips don't quite get under his hips in time to get him like off balance and up and over. And I hesitate to give too much advice on these because I'm not great at them myself. They're definitely not part of my regular routine. But you could see, I mean, even from this angle, like Caleb's hips are not directly over yours, which is, I think that's requisite for the move, right? And then I think it looks like your knee gets a little bent here as well, which is going to be, that's just a little bit of a power loss. So you can't, I mean, you could extend away, but I don't know. I would focus on your hip position there, Justin. Like, oh, dude, if you have, all right. So if you were just like sitting to guard then, or like trying to work something different, okay, that makes more sense. Please try to throw with this. I think you could really, be effective with this. I mean, you're like inches away, I feel like, from getting it. So keep that in mind. Play around. Throw my ass if you want to. Like, get that foot on the hip. Look up Tomoe on Tomoe, I think that's how you spell it.
Yep.
Go watch some videos on it or something. And we could drill it at the next open mat.
Think of Tomoe as a guard pull, but with Uchimata head position. So like, I think the only thing that really prevented you from launching Caleb at that time is you actually let go of his lapel. So you let go of his left lapel because you were trying to set up worm guard, right? I saw that in the chat. So if you continue with this power hand on the left hand side here, and you bring his head over top of your head, when you sit here, you let go because you're trying to feed the lapel. See? But if you were to keep his head going over top of your head, then you would be able to extend and launch because you had all sorts of control over him.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. I guess you were keeping your arm pretty safe there, because I was surprised to see Caleb leave that armbar attempt. What did he get you with there?
What
Oh,
was
just
that?
paper
Yeah.
cutter. Yeah.
Yeah. That's been his thing lately.
I'm getting so sick of those.
They feel miserable.
I don't let him. Yeah, I won't tap to him.
No.
He can crush my trachea. I'm not gonna give him the satisfaction.
Yep.
I've seen him hit too many of them now.
I'm literally just trying to get out of Pat's half guard clamp here.
Yeah.
It's pissing me off so bad. Literally right at the bell. I think I got the Kimura. But I was sitting there struggling. You could go back. We don't have to, but you go back like 2 minutes, and I'm sitting here trying to get my fucking foot out of it.
Oh, yeah. I see.
I'm like, I'm putting all types of pressure on him. Like, I'm trying to turn my leg, can't turn my leg. Trying to push out, can't push out.
Did he just
Nothing.
eventually?
I used the Kimura pressure, so I'm like, I'm using the Kimura in order to get him to react, and the only way for him to really react is to let his legs go.
Yeah.
So it's either that or I'm gonna get the shoulder lock anyway.
Yeah, and just while it's still fresh in our minds, Justin, when you go to play around with Tomoe, I don't want to say that you should neglect the jacket grip that you have. Just keep in mind when he goes to base, like as he, let's say right here he goes up and over, his hands are going to want to plant. So if you switch to a sleeve grip as opposed to the jacket grip, you prevent his base, and that's the way you end up taking him. So if you're it looks like your right foot went to the hip, I want to say, and please, I'll try to brush up on it myself before we do it. But I think if you're right foot on the hip, I think you would have right hand on the sleeve, and then left hand on the collar, ideally, and then you would fall. Your head would go to the right. You'd take him up and over, and you would have his right hand. You'd be throwing him to the right. Or no, I'm all messed up. I'll get it squared away. Either way, the jacket, you might have to neglect the jacket grip if you choose to do the Tomoe.
Yeah, I
I'll have to think about it.
Might be speaking out of turn, but I think that you set it up like you're gonna do a guard pull, right? So if you have a right collar, left sleeve, for a guard pull, you would be going right foot to the hip. For a Tomoe, you would be doing left foot to the hip. So I think that's exactly what you said. I think that's what you said.
Maybe. I don't know.
Basically switch your feet. Yeah.
That's why I hate talking in terms of left and right, and I prefer to think of like collar grip side, sleeve grip side, whatever, front leg, back leg. But yeah, I don't do Tomonagi's enough.
I haven't done one in a long time. So my tactic with Caleb, as of late, since he's been a bully up top, is I'm literally just trying to get him so loaded up top heavy that I can shoot in for a leg and then sweep him.
So you are opting to take bottom position and look for the sweep then.
And then yeah, wrestle up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not wrestling, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going for. Because especially in the gi, when he gets a hold of your lapels, it's very tough to shake that. He gets a lot of control really quick.
Mm-hmm. Justin again using good gripping to work past the guard. Yep. This time keeping the bottom leg. Well, actually, he did it with Austin the last time I pointed out, but keeping the bottom leg extended, which, you know, we typically tell students to use, you know, get the bottom knee in first. Typically, not a hard, fast rule. But when someone's got your pants all the way down by the ankle and you can't pull your knee to your chest, you're getting past.
Mm-hmm. So this is interesting because I think anybody who, you know, we teach with guard passing, what I did was like a number one no-no, which is that I did a knee cut pass without an underhook. So I'm trying to go for this underhook, but I don't have an underhook, and I'm coming around.
Neither did he, though.
He didn't have a full underhook. This is why I wanted to call it out. Was like, we were in a really strange, he had a cross shoulder post on me, okay? And it was really tough for me because I couldn't shoot in for a true underhook. But notice what I had to do here. I didn't feel comfortable going into a side control position because he was just going to have too much space and he was going to re-guard. So I grab the head and I start circling around for a north-south. And that's the only reason I was able to stay safe during this pass. So I just wanted to call that out in case anybody saw it and were like, oh, well, Mike passed without an underhook. And it's like, well,
do as I say, not as I do.
There was a method to the madness.
Yeah, I mean, just simply because he didn't have an underhook, the typical threat for you wasn't there.
Right.
What's going on over there, Austin and Brandon?
Nice guard pass.
Yeah.
What's sad is that me and Caleb are moving so slow, and I just realized that we were still on the 1 1/4 speed.
Yeah, we'll look at you guys.
Everybody else is moving so much faster.
Look at you in regular motion.
This is how I roll all the time.
No, Joe, this is Thursday night. I don't think the Hillbilly Fight Club will ever have geese.
No.
Unless Danny dictates it. Nice. Let's look at that grip break real quick. So he's opting for a 10-finger grip here. You're just keeping nice constant tension on it. And then he compromised his grip. Yeah, and
yeah, I mean,
10-finger grip I feel like is not one you want to use here. That's a really weak grip. I mean, your fingers aren't that strong. So it looked like he tried to switch to the gable grip right there, and you caught him in time. Oh yeah, Luke is dressed like a hillbilly right now, but geese, an abomination. It has been spoken. Hillbilly Fight Club is forever no gi.
Oh, who said that?
Danny.
Oh, nice.
Oh, we got Kurt joining.
Yep, I think I train with him next.
So does Caleb use body lock passing on you a lot, or is it just me?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's definitely putting a strong effort in to getting to doing a very good body lock pass. But I like, and right there at the very end, he was getting ready to pass my guard.
Yeah. It looks like he hiked up high enough to get over your opposite knee.
Yep, and I could not keep the distance. I was trying to go for a belt grip, and and basically keep a wedge there. I should have gone for a same side shoulder post or a V grip on the shoulder in order to continue, like, to start creating a frame.
Like on his right shoulder.
My left hand on his right shoulder. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, I've got the gi, and it was just like slipping. So
yeah.
And Kurt just tries to freaking toe hold me the whole damn time.
Yeah, he likes those. I think since Steven did that like toe crunch toe hold on him.
Right.
Because he started doing that to me maybe last week or the week prior. Like, go ahead, reap me. Like, he pulled your foot over into a super deep reaping position.
He did. Yep.
Which is inadvisable. Like, chilling.
And then watch. I can just start.
Do you see?
It's really, this is why the Ashi, their single leg X position, I think is such a versatile position, is because I can use my hips to do so much.
Like just from here?
Just from here. Yeah, I mean, granted, I have a reap here, so I've got a ton of control over the hip. But even if I had just my foot on the hip, just for me to extend and like lift my hips up, puts so much pressure and can direct the body one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, he's staying so far back too. Like his butt is right on his heels, so it's gonna be difficult to get him off balance for a sweep in the traditional ways.
And I can't remember who I was telling. I was talking to Danny about this. So Danny, since you're in the chat here, but watch what I do with. So what's going on here? I was able to put Kurt down just by, again, that single leg X, right? So I get into that ashigarami or the single leg X. I'm able to put him down onto a hip, and he goes in to start shooting for my feet now, right? Well, what do? I use my left hand to post on his foot, and I'm literally just hip heisting and keeping him away from here. So he can dig for my legs all he wants to, but if he can't feed his legs in between my legs, then he has no leg entrance. So that's what I think we were talking about it yesterday, is like, if you're going against somebody who is very interested in shooting for legs or getting into leg entanglements with you, and you don't feel comfortable, then don't let them, right? Like, keep good pressure on their feet, and don't allow them to get inside position on you.
This is a killer pass movement from you. Doing a lot of what you were talking about with me yesterday.
Yep.
A lot of feinting.
And
so all the directional
Toriano.
switches.
Right.
So you look to the right, back to the left, back to the right, left, right.
And then I find the J point, right? Like I'm right at the hip with my knee, and I'm like, okay, now I can settle down and settle in.
That was rad. Did you just mercy grip him from north south?
No, I'm trying to figure out what I can do from here. He's actually very difficult to get into a Kimura position. He does not give me dorsal Kimuras very easily, and I know that about him. So like, I'm trying to figure out what I can do that would throw him off, essentially. So I think I'm trying to go for a wrist lock. Yeah, there was, I remember thinking about this. I was like, okay, if I can force him onto that side, I can go for a back take. And then
okay.
That's what I was going to go for.
Gotcha. Brandon again. Is that it set up off the arm drag? Nice.
Yep. He hits those
killing
all
it.
Day. Yeah.
See that again. So I'm going to be nitpicky. Your hand placement on the drag is down by the elbow, a little low, right? You can see it right here. Not saying it's never going to work that way. Remember, your goal with the arm drag is back exposure, and you can get back exposure really well gripping up by the shoulder rather than down by the elbow. Down by the elbow, you can pull their arm away from their body, but they might not turn as much as you need them to. So next time you're going for these, try to get like up in the armpit. Think about getting your wrist up in the armpit and then gripping behind the shoulder. Yeah, and Mike did too earlier. You hit one on Mike for a back take, and you guys spun around a little bit, but you won the race. You can drastically shorten that race, just getting a bit more back exposure and getting it up by getting the shoulders under control as opposed to the elbow. But either way, I'm super stoked to see those working so effectively for you. Looks like he has a kind of a half Nelson position. Maybe? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Speaking of your single leg X, Irimiyashi versatility. Looks like Austin was trying to get out of that. I think maybe Austin initiated the roll.
Yep, he did.
But yeah, getting right in a good attacking spot. Doing the right thing, hopping over, getting his hip free, hopping over your leg.
Yep. he does this annoying thing with his leg, and he just like wraps it around my back.
Was Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it makes me feel like I'm gonna get my back taken, even though I have the underhook.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, it's if you like, if you did a knee slide with your left knee, yeah, I mean, even then you still wouldn't necessarily get your back taken, but yeah, since you have the underhook, it's not going to happen. But yeah, I know what you mean. You definitely do feel vulnerable there.
Yep.
I think Brandon's getting a taste of Justin's lapel wizardry. Yeah, yeah, Justin did say that he did that to you and Brandon. Yeah, get used to it, Brandon. Just take your gi to the tailors and have them hem up the tail a little bit and give them less to work with. Do you know what it means to have a game plan and BJJ and any examples? Yeah, in a way. I guess it's context dependent. Like if you're competing and you have an opportunity to look at film of a potential opponent, you can develop a game plan based off tendencies that you see them using, in terms of training room stuff and building your own game and maybe even your own tendencies. Yeah, having a game plan it's typically just like knowing what your strengths are and trying to apply them, trying to hone them, make them higher percentage. If you're really good at Kimuras, it's looking for ways to get into Kimuras and executing them. We've watched Austin here, currently getting smothered, work on his game for triangles and leg locks, specifically today. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would you add anything to that explanation?
I think you may have said this, and this may be redundant, but it all kind of depends on what you're focused on. So, like, say for example, Matt mentioned, if you're training for a competition versus going into the training room. I mean, even when you go into a competition, there could be different goals that you have. For instance, like you'll hear Gordon Ryan talk a lot about like he wanted to go into a comp and just work on his guard passing, right, or something along those lines. And then you would see him like when he entered in the grappling industries. You remember that?
Yeah, that was at the Arnold Classic.
Absolute. Yeah, Arnold Classic, and he just entered in the absolute. And his intention there was to really showcase his guard passing skills, right, and really test his guard passing. And you can take it that way. Some people just go in and are like, I'm really good at Kimuras, and I'm going to put myself in give myself every opportunity to get into a Kimura trap or something, basing it off of their strengths for a competition. And then in training room, you may be going in trying to focus on weaknesses, right? I suck at triangles, so I'm going to go in there and, even if I take the back, I'm going to be trying to hit a rear triangle instead of a bow and arrow choke or something.
Sorry.
So probably a lot of what Matt said, just in a slightly different way.
I just want to look at this exchange we're having with Austin.
Yeah.
So I think I said to Brandon earlier, talking about the hand fight and strategy when you're on the back in gi versus no gi. And you can see Mike here, right off the bat, he's not spending too much time worrying about the battle of getting ragdoll here. No, you look awesome, and I'll get to what you're doing good here in a second. Mike's not spending much time trapping arms and negating Austin's defenses here. Remember, he has 3 defenses, we have 2 offenses. He's got his two hands and a tucked chin, right, when we're on his back, versus we only have our 2 arms to attack him with. Mike's all focused on getting a good grip with the strangle arm on the lapel. He doesn't care about trapping arms. He just wants to establish a grip. And right here, you can see he gets a grip with his right hand, and then with his left hand starts pulling the slack out. So he's getting tighter and tighter on the lapel. And then now he starts to focus on, all right, how can I cut my angle? Or maybe he even, it looks like he tightens it up a bit more. And then Austin, what you're doing here, immediately going up for the elbow is great. Bow and arrow chokes only work because you pull the elbow behind, you're pulling it behind their shoulder line. And if you could keep that elbow, if you keep their elbow in front of you, they can't take the slack out of your lapel and their grip, and tighten that up. So that was a really, really great reaction. And then I think you do it again here to an even greater degree. It's coming up here again. Mike isn't doing anything to trap arms, and then right here you look like you're in so much trouble, and you just stayed completely like focused on bringing that elbow back to the front of your body, which will make his bow and arrow choke much less strong, and even compromise it here. You slip your head out the hole. You have other problems to deal with now, but getting strangled is not one of them. So that was rad. Yeah, man, roll with everybody. Roll with as many people as you possibly can. Having like, Mike and I are a good example. We've trained probably hundreds or thousands of hours at this point together, working on certain things that we know each other's working on. But I start to know how to defend what Mike's working on, and he starts to know how to defend what I'm working on. So you got to go with more people to test, progress on any technique, any game plan or strategy or whatever. So it looks like you finally got the bow and arrow.
But it was weird because Austin he did not know what I did in order to get it.
Yeah.
and really all I did, it was kind of an interesting thing. So I reached down to grab the pants, and I'm like, this fucker's gonna slip my elbow again. You can see his right arm is right on my elbow, and I knew that. Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what can I do to prevent him from turning that way? And the answer was, I'll just gonna reach up and pop my legs again, and then I'll drive my legs down. And it stopped him from turning into me. It stopped him from being able to put my elbow up, and then I could sit there and sink in the choke.
Yeah. Nice.
But it took me 3 attempts.
Yeah.
To get that.
Yeah, killer defending, man.
Yeah. Incredible.
But yeah, Odo, roll with everybody at your gym. Everybody who will let you roll with them, and is as long as they're not crazy training partners who will injure you, roll with as many people as you can.
Stay away from spazzes. That's right. Don't train with spazzes. Let your coaches handle
that. How old are you, Odo? Are you in your 20s, 30s? Because that'll kind of...
Oh, yeah. I see. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The older I get, the more I'm just interested in rolling with people around my size. I'm 34 for reference. Younger, at your age, I probably would have rolled with anybody who would welcome me. If you're... Damn, he's buggy choking your little ass. Oh, dude. Did he get it?
No.
That was cruel. No. Let's see this, though. I'll get back to the answer in a second. Last ditch buggy. I hate how easy it is for you to set those up.
I know.
Actually, no, wait a minute.
It wasn't. It didn't feel like a buggy choke to me.
It's not a buggy choke. Your arm is here. It needs to be on the far side of the body.
Ah, okay.
Because
I didn't feel any pressure.
It's a katagatame. That's all it is.
That's the buggy choke is a katagatame.
Yeah, it's a shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like an arm triangle. So you gotta have,
Right.
you gotta attempt it, Austin, when Mike ditches the cross-facing arm. So in this case, the arm I'm pointing to, the right one, when he goes to a far side, like reverse underhook, where he wedges your arm, you know, his elbow up into your armpit on the far side of your body. That's gonna be where the buggy choke comes in, because he needs his shoulder, you know, up in the pressing against his neck. Here it's not. So you got control over him.
Yeah.
But no strangle. Sure. In this case, you could say size does matter. The reason I say it does is because bigger, you know, I'm 145, 150 pounds. Bigger guys are, you know, a danger to my skeleton, basically, and muscles. So, you know, you tend to risk injury. Bigger guys are more powerful. Gravity is not your friend necessarily. Granted, you'll watch me roll with Caleb over there, who's about 100 pounds heavier than me. Luke, who's a black belt and 200 pounds heavier than me. So I break my own rules, but I also pay the price, and I'm also a coach in the class. So like, I like to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to roll and go over whatever they want to focus on. As a white belt, just be smart about it, man. Be judicious with who you choose to roll with, and listen to your body. If shit's hurting that day, maybe don't roll with the giants in the room and stick with some training partners your size.
You got to think about what's your end game, right? Like, are you going to try and be, you know, making money off the sport, or are you doing this for fun? And then, you know, you take your training based off of that, right? If I was Gordon Ryan, knew that he was going to be a champion, you know, and so he's going to put his body through a much more strenuous test than I ever would even consider. So like, I'm a hobbyist. I have no intentions of making money off this stuff. So even if I do go against Caleb, who's still 70 pounds heavier than me, I train, you know, like, am I going to go 100% balls to the wall? You know, not if my body's hurting that day.
Let's go find it. Justin's utterly dominating you right now.
He was like, he had some like lapel shit going on, and I'm like, all right, let's see if I can unravel.
Training partners who don't let go of a submission after you tap are people you don't need to train with. Yeah. That's an easy answer. Don't train with them anymore.
Nope. Respecting the tap is the number one, like, overarching rule of jiu-jitsu. That's why we have it.
Odo, I really appreciate you. Like, I feel like every time you're in chat, you come in with these really, really great fundamental questions, like the kind you put on like an FAQ on the website or something. So it's good stuff. We appreciate you coming in and bringing us your questions.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they should. Unfortunately, you know, not all coaches are attentive to that sort of stuff. You know, if it's egregious and they keep doing it over and over, hopefully, you know, you tell your coach and he does something about it. But, you know, it doesn't always happen that way, unfortunately. Good. I'm glad we can deliver, man. Keep coming back. Ask us everything you could think of. It also helps other people, you know, any other white belts.
Yeah. I was looking Justin dead in the eyes as like the life was leaving his body here. And he was not tapping. He was not going to tap.
What did you, like, how did this?
It was a cross collar joke. It was a cross collar. I mean, it felt deep, you know, like I was like, this is gonna.
Justin, what's the verdict? Was it deep?
Dude. And
yeah. So, what are you thinking about?
was like, you can't. I had
I
to let go.
thought
My hands were hurting.
I thought you let go because it was like you got him, and then I saw you crawling to the back.
No. Like, all right, I got to go for something else. He's not tapping to that.
Pizzaed when he should have French fried. Gonna have a bad time. Yeah, Caleb is a crusher.
He does
literally.
that. Oh, is this where the bruise on your side came from, Brandon? Was this roll?
Yeah.
Who knows? Always tap.
Until I sleep or just tap, man.
Tap. It ain't worth it.
I've never been knocked. I've never gone unconscious. Like it's stupid. Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something to brag about. Just tap.
It's not that important. It really is not that important.
I mean, as you get more and more comfortable, you'll start to recognize like when you're okay and like if you can last, a second or two longer. I don't know. It's weird because I don't want to recommend that you like test yourself with that, but I know you're going to anyway, probably. So, yeah, there's no point in going out ever. And yeah, again, kind of like Mike said, I'm purely giving advice from the position of a hobbyist. So
yeah.
Looks like everybody was getting after it on this last roll pretty good. Good stuff, man.
It was a fun night. It's the first Thursday I've trained in quite some time, so it's good.
Yeah, I need to get back there one of these days. Yeah, let them brag. And then when they're 60 and they have a stroke because they, got choked out too many times, and their family can deal with it. It's probably insensitive of me to say, but whatever.
No, I mean, it's how it is, man.
Yeah, nothing to brag about. Any case, good stuff tonight, guys. And even for a slimmer class, you guys got a lot of good rolls in this past Thursday. So, damn, it's already Sunday. So we will see you guys back at class tomorrow for Nage. Come on out, put on a show. We'll go over it on Wednesday. And yeah, Justin, please remind me. We'll go over that Tomoe and just see if we could make that work. Yeah, of course. Thank you guys. Odo, as always, thanks again, hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for being active in the chat. I mean, this is what we're here for, and it makes it enjoyable to, like Matt said, doesn't matter whether what belt, what rank, or whatever, and then obviously as people are in the chats, they can always chime in as well for any advice that they might have.
Yeah, we're not the bearers of all wisdom here, so if any of you guys have other stuff to add to all of our other guests, please do. We appreciate all of you. Appreciate you a lot more if you trim your nails, do your laundry, and are not stinky when you show up to class. Always.
100%.
And yeah, follow us here, subscribe here, check us out on YouTube, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. We'll see you guys this week.
Yep. See you tomorrow.
Later.